What's up, pumpers? Jerome here with another classic WoW Season of Mastery video. Today we're going to be talking about one of the absolute easiest ways to make gold in classic WoW Season of Mastery. Before we get started, please click that like button, hit the subscription button, and don't forget to click the notification bell, or I won't be able to keep making videos like this one.
You are not prepared.
One of my absolute favorite ways to make gold in classic WoW and Season of Mastery has always been vendor flips. So a vendor flip is simple. You buy an item off the auction house, you do something to it. For example, maybe you make a bandage or you make some kind of recipe, and then you vendor the item. So you don't have to sell it on the auction house. You don't have to worry about prices changing. You don't have to ever worry about holding the bag. Basically, you only buy things when you know there's going to be profit, and you never buy them otherwise. It's really simple. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. You're going to want to get an auction house add-on like TSM, aka Trade Skill Master, which I will link in the description below. And you're going to want some sort of resource, whether you make one your own or you use a resource like the one I will provide here. So basically, I've made a spreadsheet, and I'll put that in the description below as well. And it has a lot of different items on it that are theoretically will be profitable at certain times of day, at certain days of the week. And a lot of these items are very good for vendor flips. So if you look at the sheet now, we can see all sorts of different items. So for example, you can see jungle stew, you can see all these different cooking recipes, you see linen bags are a really good one, you see nightscape headbands, Hillman shoulders, lesser magic wands, greater magic wands, bandages of all types, rough blasting powder, rough bronze leggings, so many different things. So pretty much any profession can make gold with vendor flips, and I'm going to show you exactly how. So on the left side, as you can see, there's the item name, we have the materials used in the item, we have the volume, which is more of a it's sort of a good guide to show you how often these items are going to be profitable for you. Obviously, it's not going to be 100% accurate. We have the max per item, which is what the maximum amount you're going to pay for the main material in that item. For example, the tiger meat or the linen cloth or the thick leather. So that's the absolute max you're going to pay per item. The vendor sell price is the price of the completed item when sold to the vendor, and the vendor price minus materials is the exact same as the last column, except factoring in things like the thread or whatever materials you use in the item. As you can see, it goes all the way down. So we have not only cooking, we also have tailoring, leatherworking, enchanting, first aid, engineering, and blacksmithing. Keep in mind, obviously this doesn't include every single item in the game. There are going to be a lot of different items that are not included that you're going to have to find yourself. Things I didn't know about, for example. And this is basically just everything that I know about and everything I like to do that's profitable on the auction house. These are the main ones. So if you want to make gold using vendor flipping, it's really simple. I put all the instructions on the right side of the sheet. So basically all you got to do is you're going to pick multiple profitable items. I recommend multiple just because there is relatively limited profit per item and you don't really want to destroy the market. You want to do this with maybe 10 items at the same time, and it's going to make you significantly more profit. So you're just going to go through, and right now I could, for example, pick some items right now. So let's say the jungle stew, right? So we know the profit is going to be if the item is under 5 silver, 87 copper. So we go into our WoW and we're going to check for tiger meat, right? We need it under 5 silver, 87 copper. So if the tiger meat is under that, we make profit. As you can see, 5 silver, 22 copper. That's going to be profitable. That's something we can add to our list. So let's go back to the sheet, and now let's say we want to do linen bags as well, add in tailoring. So linen bags are going to be a profit if we can get the linen cloth under 29 copper each. So let's go back to the game, and now let's check for linen cloth, and boom, 22 copper. So anytime you're getting under 29, you're going to make pure profit, and it might not be that much profit, but if you did this with, let's say, 15, 20 items, that's going to significantly add up, and you could even make 50 to 100 gold a day. And that's really going to help to pay for your raid consumables. Some of these flips are actually insanely good, and I'll talk about a couple of those in a little bit. So let's go back to the sheet again and pick, for example, leatherworking. You want to try nightscape headbands. These are historically very profitable. Single-handedly paid for my raid consumes for the first couple months of Classic when it originally launched. So if you can get the thick leather under 7 silver, 19 copper, it's pure profit. So let's go back and see if we can. Usually you can. There's a very high volume for this. One of the most profitable items. So as you can see, thick leather way under 7 silver, 19 copper. And we're talking huge volumes. And you're probably wondering, does it take a long time to craft these items? Won't it, take up my character? So the idea is simple. You want to use this on an alt. You want to do vendor flips on an alt. And yes, it's going to take a lot of time, but you can do it while AFK. So even if you want to do it on your main, you can do these things while completely AFK. Let's say you buy 1,000 thick leather, and then over the course of maybe an hour while you're at work, you're just crafting these the whole time, and you're completely AFK. You're not really playing the game. This is something we call in RuneScape zero time gold. So essentially it takes up none of your actual game playing time. You're just doing it while you would already be AFK anyways. So basically this kind of gold making is completely AFK. It takes a matter of seconds to search the auction house. You buy the items, and then the minute you're gonna go to bed or whatever, you start crafting some items, or the minute you're gonna go to a work meeting, whatever it is. This is why I think vendor flips are such a great idea, is because not only are they really, really easy to do, it's guaranteed profit. You're not going to be left holding the bag, and you're also going to be doing this while completely AFK. Keep in mind, you always want to leave a bait item. So let's say I bought all the thick leather. I want to make sure I leave a few at six silver so that things keep piling up there. Otherwise, you'll end up with the profit being much lower as the price gets driven higher and higher and higher until it's 8 silver, 9 silver. This can happen permanently as well. Do you really want to keep an eye on the market and make sure you're not driving prices up? Okay, so let's go back to the sheet again and just do a couple more examples. So magic wands are a very, very well-known one. There's layers to this one of my very favorites. So magic wands are simple. You have two different wands that are really, really profitable to the vendor. The lesser magic wand vendors for 5 silver, 8 copper, and the greater magic wand for 15 silver, 35 copper. So it's simple. The lesser magic wand requires 1 lesser magic essence in order to make it, and the greater requires 3. Or you can do 1 greater magic essence. So basically, whichever one is more profitable, that's the one you want to do. You can also break down essences and make them bigger, or you can make them smaller, and this can increase your profit. Let's say you are able to get a lot of greater magic essences and you want to make lesser magic wands for whatever reason, you could make more profit that way. So magic wands are also really interesting because you can also do a disenchant search, and you can get these materials from other green items. And so basically anytime that you can get a green item for under a certain price, usually you're going to be making pure profit. This is something you'll want to experiment with as well. So let's go back to the game itself and see if we can make some profit with greater magic wands. So it's simple. All you got to do is type in greater magic essence. At any time that the greater magic essence is under 15 silver, you're making pure profit. So volumes aren't super high. You're not going to make more than a gold from this right now, but it's still something you can check back every so often, make some free gold, and go on your way. But let's say you want to check out lesser magic essence as well. Lesser magic essence. And as you can see, the price is much higher. So there's no profit to be made here if you buy lesser magic essence, but greater is profitable. That's also a great introduction to flipping in general, because I think vendor flips are the absolute best way to learn the auction house and understand arbitrage and the ways to make serious gold. Because vendor flips are, 50 gold a day maybe. But the idea is you can learn the ropes and really understand in the future how to make a lot more gold. So for example, this is a simple example, is that lesser magic essence is 8 silver and greater magic essence is 13 silver, 74 copper. So if you could do the math here, greater is 3 lessers. So it's simple. All you could have to do if you want to make some gold is you break down greater magic essence by right-clicking it, and boom, you've got some profit. Arbitrage is always going to be one of the very best ways to make gold in Classic, and it can be done with so many different things. For example, you could take the materials from mining and turn them into bars. Basically anything you're doing with crafting, right? Or you could take the materials for, potions, and then make potions and sell the potions higher. I mean, this is the most basic mechanics of the game, and yet so many people don't take advantage of them. And it's something that I think vendor flips give you a great introduction to, because you're able to kind of see how the market moves and how the prices ebb and flow, and then you can jump in and do higher level, higher value trades in the future. Okay, so let's get back to the sheet another time. We're going to check out one of my very favorites, so lots to talk about in the first aid category. So first aid in general, as you can see, linen, for example, is going to be more profitable made into bags. But first aid can be done with any professions, which is a huge advantage, of course, right? You can do first aid with engineering, for example. It doesn't matter what you have. You're always going to have first aid. So one of the most interesting things to note here is that Mage Weave actually sells for more per cloth when it's the normal version. So that's a kind of an interesting thing you might not notice immediately. Normal Mage Weave bandages sell for 4 silver, and the heavy sell for 6. We don't know why that's the way it is, but it's a discrepancy and something worth noting. Most of your profit will come from things like silk bandages, The rune cloth can be solid as well later on, but it's really a supply and demand thing, and especially at the launch of a server, you're not looking to see a lot of profit from this. Okay, so let's take silk cloth for example. So anytime silk cloth is under 2 silver, you're going to be making profit, and as you can see, it's not a lot of profit. So if we go to silk cloth, there's very little to be made here, but there are times when the market will absolutely fill up. So for example, if you look at rune cloth right now, 6 silver, 43 copper, so no profit to be made there. Mage weave, very similar, not a lot of profit to be made. In fact, right now you'd be losing gold. So it's just, cloth can be profitable, especially in TBC. It can be very profitable. It's all going to depend on where people are getting the cloth. And right now, because dungeons aren't nearly as good, because, you know, there's no dungeon boosting, there's just not as much cloth in the game. And so most of these cloth flips are not as good as they used to be back in the day. Back in the original Classic launch and back in TBC, these flips were way better in my opinion. But let's go back to the sheet another time, check out some other things. Engineering's pretty rough. You can always check it. I just put it on just in case you wanted to see some examples. Rough bronze leggings from Blacksmithing are always a pretty legendary thing to do. Lots of profit to be made here because bronze bars are so cheap. The total sell price for a pair of rough bronze leggings is 9 silver, 62 copper. So if you can see from the math here, 1 silver, 61 copper per bronze bar is profit because you need 6 of them. So let's go to bronze bar. And there's profit to be made here, right? There's probably at least 200 bars under that price, so all pure profit there. So this isn't a massive amount of gold, but if you can imagine checking back every 30 minutes on bronze bars, and every single time you're going to be making this amount of profit, and you times that by 15 or 20, that's significant, especially when you have things, for example, like the Nightscape headbands that make you a lot of profit. I mean, this is significant. You could make 20, 30 gold even in an hour doing this. Like it could be really, really high depending on the supply and the time of day in the server. I mean, look at the stacks of thick leather here. These are absolutely massive, and there are a lot of items like this. So there are a couple of very important things to talk about before we keep going on, and one of them is that you can do group scans in Trade Skill Master, which is a huge feature. So let's say we type /TSM, and then we go to groups. We can set up a group. So let's say you want to make a group of profitable items to periodically check and make profit from. You can go for the groups page at the top, and then down here to select group, and then you're going to create a new group over here, and then come back over here, and then you can just select items like zesty clam meat, or maybe the tiger meat, or the silk cloth, or maybe some mage weave cloth, and you add the items over, and now they're in the group. And that's simple enough. You go back to browse, you can scan with your new group, do a shopping scan. As you can see, tiger meat, silk cloth have popped up. So this is basically going to significantly expedite your scanning, and you could put, let's say, 15 items in here, and then every 30 minutes you check back when you're at work, and then you buy anything profitable, and then boom, when you get home or whenever you feel like it, you could just make those items into profitable items and sell them to the vendor. So another really good thing that you can do in between your vendor flipping and scanning the auction house is you can do a vendor search, and vendor searches are amazing because there's so much profit to be had. Just do this every 20-30 minutes, and boom, you see an item like the Crescent Edge of the Eagle, which is profitable if vendored for 2.1 gold, and you only had to pay 1.25 gold. There's tons of profit available doing this. I mean, you're easily going to make 25 to 50 gold doing this every single day, and you just add this on top of your vendor flips. So eventually you might add in some arbitrage as well. For example, you add into your scan some copper ore, and anytime you see that it's profitable to flip it into bars, that's easy gold to be made. Same thing with engineering. You could take solid stone, turn it into solid blasting powder. I mean, there's infinite ways to make gold with arbitrage, but the idea is simple. Start with vendor searches, start with vendor flips, and then transition this into some arbitrage on the side as well, and you'll have lots of guaranteed profit. One of the biggest mistakes people make on the auction house is buying a lot of things, trying to flip them, and then being stuck with a bunch of items, and then raid day comes around. I know this happened to me. Vendor flips are guaranteed profit. You're never stuck holding the bag ever. That's probably the biggest advantage with vendor flips. While you're making the guaranteed profit with the vendor flips, you can dip your hand into arbitrage and try to make some additional gold that way as well. So we've covered the basics. All you have to do is pick some of the items on this list and maybe even find some of your own. Ask your friends, talk to people, figure out what you can do that's a profitable flip, and then check back periodically every 30 minutes or so. And of course, don't forget to add in a TSM group so that you can scan everything very quickly. Don't forget to also scan TSM for profitable vendor flips every so often as well, and you'll be making plenty of gold in no time. Very important, of course, do not forget to leave a bait item when you're massively buying things like thick leather. You do not want to drive the price up permanently, so keep things as low as you can and kind of have a idea of, no overfishing, right? You don't want to overfish the thing that you're making gold from and ruin the method. So yeah, you have a really good foundation if you use the sheet, if you understand the basics of flipping and eventually get into arbitrage as well. You're going to be making so much gold. You're going to have thousands of gold in no time, easily paying for your rave consumes and your epic mount. The fact that this method is AFK for the most part is the absolute best thing ever. I love arbitrage. I love flips so much because I secretly don't like to go out and make gold. I don't like to go out and farm gold, and this is my absolute lifesaver. So now that you know everything about vendor flips, I have a question for you. What is your absolute best way to make gold in Classic WoW? I want to hear in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to have a great day.